Breaking right now on Morning News Now, an urgent plea as the search intensifies for the mother of our NBC News colleague, Savannah Guthrie. This morning, authorities in Arizona calling on the public for tips on Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. And now the FBI says it is joining the investigation. We'll take you to Tucson for the latest as day 3 of the search gets underway. Also this morning, controversy in Washington after President Trump suggests taking control from states and federalizing elections.
When does the elections be honest? If you think about it, a state is an agent for the federal government in elections. I don't know why the federal government doesn't do them anyway.
Plus, the government shutdown now over after President Trump signs a funding bill approved by the House. And the growing global fallout from the latest batch of Epstein documents. We have all the headlines out of Washington. Added risk, researchers sounding the alarm on the effects of ultra-processed foods for cancer patients. We'll break down the findings and what doctors need you to know. And Olympic excitement. That's right, we're just now 2 days away from the Winter Games. We'll take you to Italy, where the first Olympic competitions are already underway.
I'm excited. I'm going to Milan tomorrow night.
Oh my gosh, good
just
for you.
Just for fun, to just see some
to just hang out.
Little figure skating.
Good for you. Yeah,
exactly.
Got to catch the curling too.
Exactly. Well, it's not where we're going to be, and I'm very upset about that, but we're going to talk about it
Yes,
anyway.
we will.
Good to have you with us this morning. I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Jessica Layton, in for Savannah, who is also in Italy. We begin this morning with the ongoing search for Savannah Guthrie's beloved mom, Nancy. The effort is growing increasingly urgent because the 84-year-old has now been without her critical medication for days.
The FBI has now joined the investigation, and President Trump weighed in for the first time yesterday when he was asked about it. He said he'd be willing to commit additional federal resources to the search effort. Savannah is no longer heading to the Winter Olympics in Italy, where she was scheduled to host the opening ceremonies this Friday. She remains in Tucson, of course, with her family during this difficult time and continues to ask for prayers. NBC News correspondent Dana Griffin joins us now from Tucson with the latest. Dana, good morning. So we know the Pima County Sheriff's Office held a news conference yesterday. Not a lot of new information shared with the public. What did we learn?
Yeah, Joe, Jessica, not a lot of new information, but they are reiterating their commitment to finding Nancy Guthrie. The sheriff says he is holding out hope that she is still alive, but they are still trying to narrow down the timeline from when she was taken and also why she was taken from her Tucson home. Jess?
Dana, we know investigators say that they are aware of 2 reports now of ransom notes sent to news organizations that reference Nancy Guthrie. We want to be clear that NBC News has not seen those notes and is not clear on whether they are legitimate. But how are law enforcement officials responding to these?
So they are taking every tip seriously, no matter where it comes from. The FBI, we know, is now investigating. The sheriff's office saying in a statement that we are aware of reports circulating about possible ransom notes regarding the investigation into Nancy Guthrie. We are taking all tips and leads very seriously. Anything that comes in goes directly to our detectives who are coordinating with the FBI. And it's important to note that as of this hour, they still do not have any leads or a suspect named.
And that's why they're telling people, if you think you know anything at all, call it in. They'll sort it out. They'll take a look into it. Dana, we know officials say a major challenge in the search has been finding surveillance video in the area. Can you give us a sense of the neighborhood and some of the other challenges this is posing when it comes to the investigation?
Absolutely. So this is a very rural suburban area. There is tall, dry brush outside of the Guthrie home. And so it's making it difficult to find surveillance video that shows any sort of movement in that neighborhood. There's also no street lights. So this was done possibly overnight into the wee hours of the morning. So that is definitely presenting a challenge. Investigators are still waiting to get back some potential surveillance images that they downloaded from the home or that they are trying to download from the home. And they hope that that will create some sort of big break in this case. But everyone is just holding out hope, sending love and prayers to the Guthrie family and just hoping for her safe return.
Absolutely.
Jessica, Joe.
That's what we're all hoping for right now. Dana, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
In Washington, President Trump is once again calling into question the integrity of the 2020 presidential election with an eye toward the future. Using his unfounded claims that he won as a pretext, President Trump said yesterday that Republicans should nationalize elections. That would mean taking over a role that the Constitution right now grants solely to the states. The president has long claimed, without evidence, that he lost the 2020 election to former President Joe Biden because of widespread voter fraud. He is now doubling down on those conspiracy theories, while Republicans try to clarify what the president is trying to do. NBC News reporter Alice Barr has the latest from Washington. Alice, good morning.
Joe and Jessica, good morning. President Trump is facing pushback from both parties over his comments about elections that contradict the Constitution and come amid an investigation in Georgia that has Democrats raising their own concerns about election security.
Said that you should nationalize elections.
President Trump doubling down.
I want to see elections be honest.
On controversial comments out this week in a podcast with his former deputy FBI director.
The Republicans should say, we want to take over. We should take over the voting in at least 15 places. The Republicans ought to nationalize the voting.
Democrats calling that an assault on the Constitution, which dictates that the states run elections.
This is more dangerous autocratic poison from Donald Trump.
Top Republicans in the House.
It's always been the responsibility of the states to administer elections.
And Senate also calling this a constitutional issue while pointing to the SAVE Act, a Republican bill requiring proof of citizenship to register to vote that the White House said President Trump was referencing.
Ensuring that only citizens of this country vote in our elections, that's something I think we all agree with.
It's already illegal for non-citizens to vote in federal and state elections. It all comes as President Trump continues to falsely assert the debunked claim that the 2020 election was stolen through widespread fraud. In a dramatic escalation, the FBI last week raided a Fulton County, Georgia election center, seizing ballots and other records related to the 2020 election. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard observed the raid, and two sources say she facilitated President Trump speaking by phone directly to FBI agents involved in the search, sparking more outrage among Democrats as a senior administration official pointed to Gabbard's role in election security. The top Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee, Mark Warner, is calling on DNI Gabbard to testify before Congress while accusing the Trump administration of dismantling election protections from foreign and cyber threats. Gabbard told the House and Senate Intelligence Committees she has broad authority to ensure that U.S. elections are secure and will share her assessments once complete. Joe and Jessica?
All right, Alice, thank you.
Setting aside a simmering confrontation, President Trump appears to have buried the hatchet with Colombian President Gustavo Petro. The two outspoken leaders met yesterday at the Oval Office.
Tensions between both leaders had become severely strained in recent months following the buildup of American warships in the Caribbean and the U.S. strikes on alleged drug boats there. Petro was also highly critical of the U.S. operation to capture former Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro just last month.
NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Melanie Zanona joins us now with the latest on this and some more headlines. Mel, both leaders did appear pretty cordial yesterday, a stark contrast to some of the rhetoric we were hearing in the lead up to this. Walk us through what we know was discussed, what came out of these talks.
Yeah, good morning, guys. These two leaders have been trading hostile insults for months, with at one point President Trump even suggesting that Petro could suffer the same fate as captured President Nicolas Maduro. But yesterday was a very cordial meeting by all accounts. Trump even called it a productive meeting. And afterwards, President Trump was asked whether the two of them came to an agreement on drug trafficking. Here's what he had to say.
We got along very well. He and I weren't exactly the best of friends, but I wasn't insulted because I never met him. I didn't know him at all. And we got along very well, and we're working on that. We're working on some other things, too, including sanctions. And we had a very good meeting. I thought it was terrific.
And meanwhile, afterwards, Petro said he gave the president a list of kingpins from all around the world that the two countries could work together on arresting. So a very different tone coming out of this meeting from these two different leaders.
Yeah, for sure. And Melanie, we want to switch to another topic. The federal government is now back open following that partial shutdown that was sparked by that dispute over funding for the Department of Homeland Security, which of course oversees ICE. But the battle to keep the government open is obviously far from over. So where does everything stand this morning?
That's exactly right. The hardest work is yet to come. That's because the deal that was approved yesterday only included a temporary funding patch for the Department of Homeland Security, which has come under intense scrutiny following those fatal shootings in Minnesota. And Democrats are demanding more reforms for ICE. They want things like prohibition on masks. They want mandates on body cameras. They want mandates on identification. They want things like tighter judicial rules for warrants. But Republicans have already rejected a number of those ideas. And meanwhile, they have their own list of demands that they want to see in any DHS funding bill, like ending so-called sanctuary cities, which is just a complete non-starter for Democrats. So this is going to be a huge battle. And at this point, they have less than 10 days to figure it out, or else they'll face another government shutdown for the Department of Homeland Security.
Mel, we also want to ask you about this ongoing standoff between the Clintons and House Republicans over getting the former First Family to testify in front of lawmakers. This is part of the House Oversight Committee's investigation into the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Looks like the Clintons are willing to testify. The question is just how they're going to do it. What's the latest there?
Yeah, there's been so much back and forth between the Clintons and the House Oversight Committee. It does appear that there is an agreement between the two sides that the Clintons will appear for depositions on February 26th and February 27th. What's not yet agreed on yet is the format, because the Clintons are pushing for these depositions to be public. They say this is the only way to ensure a transparent and fair process. They don't trust the Republicans on the committee to play this straight. But Republicans are pushing to keep this behind closed doors, saying this is how they've done all their other depositions in this investigation so far. So at this moment, that is still yet to be worked out. So far, though, Republicans have taken those contempt resolutions off the table. But ultimately, if they can't come to an agreement, Republicans saying they are reserving the right to move ahead with holding both the Clintons in criminal contempt of Congress. Guys.
All right, Mel, thank you so much.
It was just last Friday that the Justice Department released millions of pages from the Epstein files, and the aftershocks from those revelations are still being felt. So let's continue this conversation with NBC News senior justice reporter Ryan Riley. Ryan, good morning. There was a lot of backlash from Epstein survivors about the amount of redactions that we saw in the latest release. This was something that the president was asked about yesterday. What did he have to say?
Yeah, so Donald Trump thinks that the American people and the media should really move on from this topic. Take a listen to what he had to say.
I think it's really time for the country to get onto something else, really. You know, now that nothing came out about me, other than it was a conspiracy against me, literally, by Epstein and other people. But I think it's time now for the country to maybe get onto something else.
What would you say to people
like
who feel like they haven't gotten
healthcare,
justice, Mr. President?
something that people care about?
So obviously Trump wants to move on from this, as you heard in that clip. But there's just been a lot of new details that are continuing to emerge when you have such an enormous amount of information like this. This is not a story that sort of instantly goes away. It's taken journalists a while to go through these documents, to review them, to reach out to for comment to individuals named into documents, to sort of sort through what is a legitimate story or a legitimate inquiry, and some of the unfiltered materials that made their way through this process that aren't as reliable. So this is something, I think, a storyline that's definitely going to extend beyond probably what Donald Trump would like here.
Yeah, and extend beyond our borders here, too, because the fallout from this latest release of documents is spreading to the UK. We know police there have launched an investigation into a major political figure there, Peter Mandelson. He briefly served as British ambassador to the U.S. before he was fired last year when details emerged over his relationship with Epstein. What exactly is it authorities are investigating now?
Yeah, so authorities over in the UK are looking at whether there was any information improperly released. But there's also just been some political fallout in Britain over this because of the way that, you know, this was someone who was serving in this important role. So there are a lot of documents that the government is in possession of about this appointment. What was sort of who knew what when, I think, is a big component of this about his relationship with Epstein. But police have launched an investigation into that.
And Ryan, here in the U.S., the ex-wife of Microsoft founder Bill Gates is speaking out for the first time after his name appeared in the Epstein files. So remind us of the allegations facing Gates, how he's responding, and also what we're hearing from his ex-wife, Melinda.
Yeah, so there was this interview with his ex-wife Melinda saying that this is sort of something that she sort of put behind her, but there were some pretty salacious allegations in these in these files as they emerged, him seeking advice and whatnot. And so it's something that she's trying to put behind her and making clear that is in her past.
Okay, Ryan, thanks so much. And on a programming note, make sure to catch Tom Yamas's exclusive interview with President Trump tonight at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time on NBC's Nightly News and at 7 p.m. on News Now's Top Story.
In a shocking story out of Delaware, the ex-husband of former First Lady Jill Biden is now charged with murdering his wife. NBC News correspondent Erin McLaughlin reports.
The ex-husband of former First Lady Jill Biden behind bars, charged with first-degree murder. Bill Stevenson was taken into custody on Monday in Delaware after a grand jury charged him with intentionally causing the death of his wife, Linda. According to authorities, on the night of December 28th, police were called to the Stevensons' Delaware residence for a domestic dispute. They found Linda unresponsive in the living room. She was later pronounced dead. Bill Stevenson was married to Jill Biden for 5 years in the 70s. In her 2019 memoir, Biden wrote about the ill-fated relationship, detailing how the two met in college and married when she was just 18, writing, "There was a time when I truly believed we were destined for each other, but that they soon grew in different directions." Biden calling the divorce the biggest disappointment of my young life. She also wrote that Stevenson supported Joe Biden's 1972 run for Senate. Although decades later, when Biden became president,
it's my honor to introduce the 46th president, my husband, Joe Biden.
Stevenson was an outspoken critic of the First Lady, frequently talking about the relationship on Newsmax.
She was bitter, she was nasty, and she said things in the court that were crazy.
The Biden family declined to comment about the case. Stevenson is in custody, having failed to post $500,000 cash bail. Erin McLaughlin, NBC News.
Two sisters from Florida are safe and back home this morning after authorities say they were kidnapped by a man they connected with online. Police say the suspect drove across the country after meeting the girls on the popular apps Roblox and Snapchat. Well, that suspect is now in custody. NBC News correspondent George Solis has more.
A kidnapping crisis averted after authorities arrested a Nebraska man accused of taking two young Florida girls. Investigators say Sir Mulasse, who remains in custody, drove from Omaha to Martin County, Florida, to pick up 12 and 15-year-old sisters after chatting with them for months, first on the online gaming app Roblox and then Snapchat.
Anything where you can communicate digitally can be a problem. You can never disregard any of the apps.
The sisters were first reported missing Saturday evening when authorities say family called 911 after the girls went for a walk and didn't come home.
They went for a walk around 4:45 and they haven't come back. It's two girls.
Investigators say the girls were found more than 7 hours later across state lines inside the suspect's car by Georgia State Police.
These criminals that are out there constantly surfing the internet, they know what to say.
In a statement to NBC News, Roblox saying in part they're investigating, adding they have robust safety policies to protect users that go beyond many other platforms. Snapchat telling NBC News in part, we continuously adapt our strategies as criminals evolve their tactics. All of this comes as authorities in Indiana recovered the remains of 17-year-old Haley Busby, who was reported missing last month. Authorities say a 39-year-old man who met the teen on a gaming platform is in custody in connection with the case.
The family of the two girls tells us they are extremely grateful to have them back. The sheriff's office telling us more charges could be brought against the suspect. Back to you.
George Solis, thank you.
French prosecutors raided the Paris offices of Elon Musk's social media platform X yesterday. The company is now pushing back, calling the raid, quote, an abusive act of law enforcement theater. French authorities are investigating the spread of sexual deepfakes and Holocaust denial content on X. Comes amid wider concerns about X's AI chatbot Grok and the generation of non-consensual images. NBC News international correspondent Raf Sanchez has the latest on the investigation. Raf, good morning.
Hey there, yeah, Elon Musk defiant after French authorities raided the office of X, formerly known as Twitter, in Paris. French authorities say this is part of a sprawling investigation into whether the American social media platform violated French laws. They are specifically concerned about Grok, which is, of course, X's generative AI chatbot. There have been cases all over the world where the chatbot seems to have generated pornographic images. I want to walk you through some of the suspected charges that led to this raid. French prosecutors say they are looking into potential complicity in the possession and distribution of child pornography images. They're also concerned about potential violation of personal image rights. This is alleged use of Grok for sexual deep fakes of people, creating basically pornographic images of people without their consent. Also, denial of crimes against humanity. This is Holocaust denial, which is illegal in France and in other countries in Europe. Now, French authorities have summoned both Musk and Linda Yaccarino, who is the former chief executive of X, to appear before an investigative hearing in April. We don't know at this point whether either of them will agree. It's worth saying neither of them have been charged with a crime, but French prosecutors say they want to hear from them as they carry out this investigation. We got a very strong statement from X a couple of hours after the raid. I want to read you just a little bit of it. They really come out swinging, saying, "The allegations underlying today's raid are baseless, and X categorically denies any wrongdoing. Today's staged raid reinforces our conviction that this investigation distorts French law, circumvents due process, and endangers free speech." And on that last point, free speech, you have seen Elon Musk repeatedly accuse European governments of trying to censor free speech on X and other platforms. And that is an accusation that has been taken up by the Trump administration. So it'll be worth seeing whether the White House comes to the defense of X as it faces this investigation in France, as well as other investigations in other European countries. I'll send it back to you.
All right, Raf Sanchez, thank you.
Time now for a check on your morning News Now weather.
Angie Lastman is tracking the record warmth out west and the not record warmth here out east. Angie, good morning.
I can feel the saltiness in your voice, Joe. I know. We're looking for some warmer weather across the east. We've improved a little bit. These temperatures are not quite as harsh as they were, I don't know, just a couple of days ago. We've still got the 20s, of course, which doesn't sound great in Indianapolis, but 30s for Providence, 37 for Richmond, 55 for Charleston. We're starting to get a little closer to normal for now. Meanwhile, out west, yes, we've got these potential records that we're going to see into the afternoon hours. 50 degrees across parts of the Rockies, 57 for Rapid City, 88 degrees in Los Angeles. The warm conditions will spread a little farther to the east for tomorrow as well, and they'll include parts of the plains in the Midwest. So we will get to 37 degrees in Minneapolis. And by the way, that's 12 degrees above normal. So we're making improvements as promised. 50s from Omaha to Springfield, 60s for Dallas. Still a little chilly across parts of the east, really from the Great Lakes to the coast. We've got 31 for New York, 26 tomorrow in Cincinnati. And then we start to see temperatures kind of dropping once again. We are going to see some more of that Arctic air kind of slide in from the north and settle in just in time for the weekend. We'll also have a bit of snow to talk about in some spots. But here's those minimum wind chills that I really want to draw your attention to, because while we're starting to make some improvements in the short term, long term, there still will be some dangerous temperatures to deal with as people are out and about over the weekend. So sub-zero temperatures for the wind chills on Saturday and Sunday. These are the minimum wind chills, so it's as low as it's going to get. -4 and -9 for Saturday and Sunday there. -15 on Sunday. 30 and mid-30s below as we look to Saturday and Sunday in Lake Placid. So we do have more of that chilly air kind of going to slide in here as we get into the weekend. Meanwhile, we've got some rain across the south from the Gulf Coast all the way up into the Carolinas. Some heavy downpours expected for folks, especially across the Gulf Coast. We'll see those showers dampen your morning commute, and then they kind of slide to the east. Maybe some light snow for Virginia and parts of North Carolina. Nothing that's going to slow you down a whole lot, but still notable if you're going to be out and about on the roads. And then that system is offshore by the morning tomorrow, so we're not going to worry too much about that. We'll still maybe see a couple of those pesky showers showers hanging around across Florida, but we'll make some of those improvements. And in the meantime, some needed rain across this region, maybe a quarter of an inch to up to an inch. Nothing so impressive, but still, again, might slow you down on the roads. Otherwise, we look ahead to the weekend. Friday, we've got a quick clipper storm that's going to work across the Great Lakes and into the Appalachians and Northeast. We'll still be dealing with those record highs out west. And then as we get into Saturday, a lot of sunshine on this map, guys. You see all that sunshine? Not a lot of bad weather unless you look at the temperatures. That's where we still are seeing the bitter cold conditions, windy even across parts of northern New England. And then we will gear ourselves up for some rain across parts of the Pacific Northwest. Otherwise, a super Sunday for the Super Bowl. We'll have lots of dry skies. So if you're looking to, I don't know, grill out for Super Bowl Sunday, you better go to Miami.
There you go.
Otherwise, 20s, 30s, that's what you're going to get across the Great Lakes, the Northeast, and a whole lot of other
It's going to be chilly. Yeah. Actual pot of chili.
Yeah,
Right. Inside. Well, it's chilly outside.
I see what you did there.
You see what I did there?
Good thing the Olympics aren't at Lake Placid this year.
Yeah, exactly. Can you imagine how bundled we would all be?
No kidding.
No, thank you.
No, thank you's right.
Much more to come here on Morning News Now. Later this hour, researchers sounding the alarm on a common practice to help with sleep. Why putting on pink noise may not be as soothing as you think.
But up first, after the break, three-time Olympic champion Lindsey Vonn injured, but she's still planning to compete. We'll take you to Italy for all of the excitement ahead of the Winter Olympics, now just 2 days away. Stay with us.
Welcome back. With the Winter Olympic Games opening ceremony now just 2 days away, the first big athlete to watch for Team USA has become skier Lindsey Vonn. After her terrifying crash in Switzerland just days ago, many were wondering if she'd be able to compete this year. Well, her answer is now a defiant yes, even with a ruptured ACL. Our Stephanie Gosk is in Milan with the latest.
Lindsey Vonn is not letting go of her Olympic comeback.
I will do everything in my power to be in that starting gate.
But in Cortina, Italy, the 41-year-old revealing she ruptured the ACL in her left knee after crashing in Switzerland last week. Asked if she will compete.
But I can't tell you that answer until I actually ski 85 miles an hour.
Vonn's first training run is Thursday, a huge test as the games draw near. And Team USA choosing its flag bearers for opening ceremony. Speed skater Erin Jackson. In Beijing, she became the first black woman to win an individual gold medal in the Winter Olympics.
What message does it send to have you be the flag bearer? It's an amazing message because that's more visibility.
At her side, Frank Del Duca, U.S. Army Sergeant and bobsled pilot.
Carrying the American flags, leading us into opening ceremony is going to be just the absolute joy and honor.
In Milan, the city center coming alive with excitement for the games. Opening ceremony only days away.
The women's downhill is on Sunday, but Lindsey Vonn has to do a training run before that, likely on Thursday. She says she feels good and the swelling in her knee is down. It will all depend on how stable the knee feels during that run. Back to you.
All right, Steph, thanks.
And sticking with Olympic coverage, even though the cauldron hasn't been lit yet, the competition has actually already started.
Yeah, the first session of mixed doubles curling just got underway in Cortina, along with training sessions for downhill skiing and luge.
NBC News international correspondent Claudio Lavanga is in Milan and joins us now with more. Claudio, good morning. The day is finally here. Competition is getting underway. This is your home country, so you've been watching Milan and Cortina get ready since the announcement back in 2019. What's the mood? Is everything set to go?
Hey, Jessica. Well, I will say there's some mixed feelings here about the Winter Olympics. Well, on the one hand, of course, there's excitement, especially about the opening ceremony on Friday, and then, of course, the winter events especially for Winter Olympics fans. But at the same time, the mood around here is a bit gloomy, just like the weather, as you can see, because, of course, with so many countries, delegations coming in for the opening ceremony in today's time, well, there's a lot of security around. Roads are closed, there's some disruptions, and this is the economic powerhouse of Italy. People here are used to running around, so there's, some disgruntled Milanese, but as I say, and as you've probably seen before in the past, I mean, nobody cares about the Olympics until the Olympics are here. And they are, because today, as you mentioned, is the day when the first competitions are taking place in Cortina, the second host city, guys.
Yeah, so despite the winter rain, we've got the competition starting. What countries are competing today? Is it just curling or anything else?
No, today it is just curling. The countries are Sweden, South Korea, Great Britain, Norway, Canada, Czech Republic, Estonia, and Switzerland. I had to write them down. It's too many. And, you know, this is mixed double curling, that one sport that I like to describe as the winter sport that people watching at home think they can do. But it's harder than it looks. And you know something about that, Joe, because I remember you gave it a shot. Yeah. And as you mentioned, guys, we've already seen some action also in training with alpine skiing and luge, because they need to adjust to the track conditions, guys.
Savannah and I tried it 4 years ago thinking, oh, this will be a piece of cake. Have you done it before?
I have not. I've watched a lot of it.
You know it well. It is so hard because when you're sliding on that ice on your feet, it is so unstable, and you're still trying to get the stone in. It's incredibly difficult.
Yeah, it's not just anyone can just pick it up and go to the Olympics and do it. Claudio, are there any other competitions that take place before the opening ceremony? And wondering why these competitions are scheduled before the opening ceremony?
Well, on Thursday, tomorrow, we're going to see the first American teams competing again in mixed double curling. But also we're going to see later in the day here in Milan, again tomorrow on Thursday, the first women ice hockey game against the Czech Republic, while the mixed double curling Team USA are going to take on Norway and Switzerland. So we look forward to that. And then, of course, on Friday, before the opening ceremony, we're also going to see Team USA compete in figure skating. Why do they do it before the opening ceremony? Simply because there's too many events and too little time. There's too many events to fit into the 2 weeks schedule, so they start early, guys.
I wonder if they make the Olympics longer or what it is they should do, because we've seen this the last few years, but it also gets some of the prelims out of the way as well. Claudio, as you know, I'm going to be heading there very soon. Do I need to pack my raincoat?
Probably.
Pack a couple of umbrellas, as you can see. You'll need them.
All right, will do. I'm sure it'll clear up by the time I get there.
Joe, you're just going to bring the sunshine like you do everywhere you
That's
go.
What we're going for.
Obviously.
We're going for that. All right.
Claudio Levanga, thanks so much. Great to see you. And as Claudio just said, curling competition starts today. It's often called chess on the ice, as you know. But before the stones start sliding, NBC News chief data analyst Steve Kornacki is at the big board breaking down the rules, the strategy, and how to score it all. Steve, good morning.
All right, this one's not about who's the strongest. It's not about who's the fastest. It's all about precision. We're talking about the sport of curling. Let's take a look at how you keep score in curling. Now, if you've ever seen it on TV, you see that you have these 4 long lanes of ice here. Collectively, that's going to be our playing area. And at the end of each one of those lanes, you've got 4 circles. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those 4 circles together, they're called the house. Now, the goal is to get your stones, to throw your stones into those 4 circles as close as you can to the middle. The middle is called the button. You want to get as close as you can to that as possible. Each team is going to get 8 throws. Yes, they call them throws. They alternate turns taking those throws. Again, trying to get those stones as close to the middle as possible. By the way, those stones are made of granite. They weigh about 42 pounds. Now, the other team obviously is also trying to get its stones as close as it can to the middle, but they also could knock your stones out if they want to. There's a lot of strategy that comes into play here as well. Maybe you leave one of your stones a little bit short so that it guards a stone behind it. So after all the stones have been thrown in a round, it's time to tally points. Let's show you how you do that. So the most important thing here is which team has a stone that is closest to the button, closest to the center of all these circles. And you can see here, it would be the red team in this example. So if that's the case, the red team would then get 1 point. Also, the red team then would get an additional point for every stone that it has inside the house, inside these 4 circles here, that's closer to the button than any stone that the other team has thrown. So you can see here, I don't know, what's the closest blue stone? Maybe it's this one, maybe it's this one. Well, definitely these 2 red stones are closer than either of these blue stones. So in this example, the red team would get 1, 2, 3 total points. Now, take a look at a different version of this. Let's say the round had ended up looking like this. Okay, again, it's very close. The red team would have the closest stone. They'd get a point, but The closest blue stone would be right here. These two red ones would not be closer than that, and so the red team would only get 1 point for that round. Play continues. They have 10 rounds. They also call these things ends, 10 ends. Whoever has the most points at the end of 10 ends, that's the winner of the match. And that's how you keep score in curling. Keep watching as we learn to keep score for more Olympic sports.
Like shuffleboard on ice or chess on ice.
Stones and buttons.
That's all. Steve Kornacki, thanks so much. The newly renovated curling stadium was first built for the 1956 Winter Olympics and will host every match of the tournament. The historic venue will also serve the site of the Paralympic closing ceremony.
And remember, you can catch the 2026 Winter Olympics right here on NBC and streaming on Peacock.
How could we forget? Coming up on Morning News Now, prescription problems. New research shows most Americans with high blood pressure don't have it under control because they're not taking their meds.
Up next, the warning from doctors about the potential risks. Your weekly checkup is next. Stay with us. We're back now with our weekly medical checkup. This week, we're looking at new data that finds many Americans have uncontrolled high blood pressure.
Plus, why pink noise might be keeping you up at night.
Here to break down these health headlines is NBC News medical contributor Dr. Kavita Patel. Dr. Patel, good to have you with us. So let's start with that study that found that most Americans who need to take medication for high blood pressure are not doing so. Do we know why that might be happening, Dr. Patel, and just what else can people do to lower their blood pressure?
Yeah, Joe, Jessica, surprising statistics that were found in a national study looking at over 10,000 United States adults that really reflect over 122 million United States adults with hypertension. So looking at these 10,000 adults, about 4,000 of them had a diagnosis and had some sort of blood pressure medication that they were recommended. As a reminder, our goal blood pressure that we're aiming for when you have high blood pressure is the top number, systolic blood pressure of 130, bottom number, diastolic blood pressure of 80. So that's the goal. Only about 45% of those people diagnosed with high blood pressure were at goal. That leaves about 55% of people who were either supposed to take high blood pressure medication, were not at goal. But they found, Joe, to your point, that there were a number of reasons, including lack of access to actual health care, regular health care, some cost issues with antihypertensive medications, and also just a lack of compliance. Some people had a complicated regimen, they're taking other medications. So here's the bottom line. We know that this is actually a solid study. It nationally represents what we think is going on across the entire United States. And that translates to millions of people, even some who are watching now, who might think that their blood pressure is managed, but they're still running above target. And I think this is what's interesting, that there were about 48% of those people who are not taking anything that should be, that were within about 10 points of that 130/80 number. It tells us that we could probably also, if you don't want to take medications, depending on your blood pressure, talk to your doctor. So here's the doctor's orders and what you should take back to talk to your doctor today. Talking about a diet and the role that a diet can play, lifestyle, exercise. We talk about that a lot. I'm going to break it down and say that this is where movement, we've said that matters. Try to translate that to your numbers. And then above all else, try to do what you can to take your medications, including saying to your doctor, this isn't working, we need to change it.
Dr. Patel, speaking of diet, this new study found that cancer survivors who eat more ultra-processed foods were at a higher risk of death. Now, even though a lot of them are really tasty, we know in general processed foods are unhealthy, but what is it for cancer patients specifically that may cause more harm?
Yeah, and I think this is something that I would say it's an observational study. They looked at a pretty small population in southern Italy, but it was a long-term cancer survivor study over 17 years, about 800 cancer survivors that they followed over, again, about 17 years to understand. We all know that kind of what you eat matters, but people might think that the number of calories and fat and macros, which is very trendy right now, are enough. And what they looked at is to see what was the proportion of ultra processed food intake. And just as a reminder, what is an ultra processed food? I like to tell people that when the ingredient list has more than 5 words that you really can't translate, it's probably ultra processed. And what they found is that if you actually had an ultra processed diet, that you actually had a higher risk of death just from that ultra-processed food intake being much higher alone. And I think that here's kind of the bottom line in the doctor's orders here. It's not just your macros and your nutrient profile, but the processing can matter, especially in cancer patients, but likely in other diseases. So prioritize whole foods, the ingredients, read those lists, and try to limit your ultra-processed foods. We all love them. Try to limit your intake no matter who you are.
Okay, so we've all heard of white noise, but how about pink noise? That's like the sound of rain or rustling leaves. It can maybe help people fall asleep. It turns out it could actually worsen your rest. What did researchers find here?
Yeah, I have to say, I had never really identified this space as pink noise, and you nailed it, Joe. It's all the things that I probably did for my own children, and we'll talk about what that means. This is a smaller study, 7 nights, 25 adults, and they really tried to understand the role of pink noise, which, as you said, can be noise machines, what we call white noise, and anything that we do sometimes to mask street noise or just to help us fall asleep. And here's the net. And again, small study, but it showed that even using those pink noise for a longer period of time can reduce your REM sleep. That's that deep cycle of sleep. That deep cycle of sleep matters because I like to tell people that when you're sleeping, that's when your body's processing and growing. So you want to try to do as much as you can to allow for longer REM sleep. So the doctor's orders here are really to try to think about, by the way, earplugs actually worked to kind of counteract that. So if you've got that noise that you're trying to get rid of, street noise, lamps, traffic alarms, you should try earplugs, and that the noise machines may not be your best friend. And if you do use a noise machine, like I did on my children and many days myself, put a time limit on it so that you can have it turn off after you fall asleep.
Very good. I used to listen to like a crackling bonfire and then realize that I would probably sleep through a real fire if I got so used to that. So we cut that out. Dr. Patel, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Coming up, a new big cheese for the House of Mouse.
Disney has just named its new CEO, and he's no stranger to the company. More on that announcement and what it could mean for the most magical place on Earth. Stay with us. You're watching Morning News Now. We are back now with a major shakeup in the Magic Kingdom. Disney announcing Josh D'Amaro will take over for Bob Iger as the entertainment giant's CEO. A Disney veteran for nearly 30 years, D'Amaro is set to step into the new role next month. He's been leading the company's parks, cruises, and resorts since 2020. NBC business and data correspondent Brian Chung explains what the leadership change could mean for the most magical place on Earth.
There's new royalty at the top of the Magic Kingdom. Josh D'Amaro, named the next CEO of entertainment giant Disney, taking the reins after nearly 30 years with the company, most recently as head of Disney Experiences. The decision ending a years-long succession search for Bob Iger, who's been running the company for almost 2 decades in 2 stints. Iger calling his successor an exceptional leader with a deep understanding of what resonates with our audiences. And right now, few things resonate more with audiences than experiencing Disney IRL, with iconic parks from Southern California to Shanghai, resorts, cruise ships, and all the merch you can buy. The business boosted by $10 billion in revenue from D'Amaro's division just last quarter. Now an even bigger profit driver than the box office.
Disney is moving to where the profits are, and that is in theme parks and in the cruise lines. And he's been running that business for several years and doing it very successfully. And they want to continue to grow it while the media business continues to come under pressure.
But while loved by Wall Street, those hefty admission fees are loathed by Main Street, as those beloved parks become out of reach for some families.
But apparently, Disney loves taking my money even more than they love me.
Disney prices are completely out of control.
Day pass prices almost doubling from $67 2 decades ago, now starting at $119 in Orlando. The complex web of pricing catering to the wealthier visitors. Bigger picture, America's middle class is tightening the belt as even more affordable parks like Six Flags have closed some gates for good. Disney apparently attempting to address affordability and its warnings about falling foreign foot traffic by offering some new deals, like up to 40% off for annual pass holders, or 6 nights for the price of 4. A battle to bring in new customers to a park with a fan base so fervent, even the slightest changes can cause outrage.
This ride is going extinct. It's gone forever.
D'Amaro knows how much people care, telling Fortune magazine that he even got involved with a tree being moved at a park, asking, was it here when Walt was here? It's not the first time Disney picked a parks guy to run the company. Back in 2020, Bob Chapek was tapped for the top job, only to be forced out after just a few years, failing to generate much magic. Iger returning to right the ship, the mouse now wishing upon a star that D'Amaro can make their succession dreams come true. Brian Chung, NBC News.
Let's get a look at what else is making financial headlines this morning, starting with the latest on AI from tech giant NVIDIA.
NBC News business and economy reporter Ali Canal has your Money Minute. Ali, good morning.
Good morning, Jessica. That's right. Some interesting comments here from NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang. He said that today's massive AI build-out could eventually lower energy costs as investments pour into new power supply and modernized grids. At a conference in Houston, Huang saying that market pressure is already forcing faster energy expansion and that over time, supply should catch up and bring prices down. Right now, though, that build-out is straining electricity systems across the country. And sticking with NVIDIA, apparently there's no drama with OpenAI. Huang telling CNBC that the company's planned investment in the ChatGPT maker is, quote, on track, pushing back on reports of tension. He also confirmed that NVIDIA will invest in OpenAI's next funding round, even as OpenAI lines up additional chip suppliers to meet surging AI demand. Meanwhile, Intel is making a move into NVIDIA's territory. The company says it will start producing more advanced GPU chips, a key building block for AI, and a space currently ruled by NVIDIA. The push marks a significant strategic shift as Intel tries to regain ground in the AI hardware race. And so we have lots of chip news out this morning. Intel, of course, is in the midst of a massive turnaround plan. We'll see if them wading into the GPU space will help with that.
All right, Ali, thanks so much. Of course. Coming up, he's a two-time World Series champ, a four-time MVP, and now Shohei Ohtani has something new to add to his already impressive resume.
That's right. The baseball superstar now a published author with a little help from his beloved four-legged friend. His conversation with Tom Yamas about his new book, plus what he had to say about the Dodgers' bid for a three-peat. Morning News Now. We'll be right back. Finally this hour, it's show time. At just 31 years old, baseball superstar Shohei Ohtani already is in a league of his own. Well, now the two-time World Series champ is adding author to his resume.
NBC Nightly news anchor Tom Yamas spoke to Ohtani about his work on and off the diamond.
To watch Shohei Ohtani is to witness a once-in-a-century force, a $700 million arm, and a swing that has become the stuff of legend. He's the face of the sport, a double threat, knocking 55 home runs and pitching a sub-3 ERA in 2025, a feat that felt like science fiction until he made it a reality.
What was it like to win back-to-back World Series titles?
This second year was a lot harder. You know, obviously a lot more pressure that was put on the team. It was a very, very special year.
For the four-time MVP, the conversation has now turned to something rarely whispered in baseball, a three-peat.
For Americans out there, when we talk three-peat, we think of the greats in other sports, people like Michael Jordan and Tom Brady and all the championships he won. You're going to be talked about in those conversations as well. Have you thought about a three-peat?
I don't think about it too much. However, I do hope that, you know, when I retire and I look back and I can be able to say that, hey, I was on that team that won three championships in a row. That would be very cool.
But with that success comes scrutiny. To get there, the Dodgers have a payroll that has redefined the sports economy, allowing them to scoop up the best talent in the game.
Do you think that's good for the game?
Yeah, I think with what the ownership group has done is great. You know, I mean, obviously the fans pay money they buy tickets and they come to the game. So I think that money is being used back to sign these great players and put out a winning product on the field.
What's it like to play on a super team? I mean, it feels like every one of your starters is an all-star.
Yeah, I think it's very exciting. You know, when I did decide to sign with the Dodgers, that was a conversation I had with the ownership group. They promised me that they were going to put the best team out on the field, and just, you know, the goal was to, again, continue to win as many World Series as we could.
For Ohtani, the future now includes a new addition at home, a baby girl born last April. Also by his side, Major League Baseball's most valuable pup, Decoy.
So, you know, when I was growing up in Japan, I had a dog myself. I wanted a dog for myself over here. I kind of met Decoy, and we hit it off.
A celebrity in his own right, Decoy is now the subject of Ohtani's new children's book.
So, Shohei, why did you want to write a children's book?
Yeah, I think the initial idea was basically I had my daughter coming soon, so timing-wise, I felt it was a nice time to maybe be able to read her a book about my story as well as our dog Decoy's story.
What do you love about dogs?
They're just very special animals. They're a part of your family.
But with a book deal and millions of fans, Ohtani's sidekick might be stealing a bit of the spotlight.
Does he need a super agent to represent him?
Yeah, all of the proceeds for these books are going to go to animal shelters. We're going to obviously donate all of the proceeds, but now that I think about it, maybe I should have negotiated just a little bit of amount to get Decoy some good food, We'll do that next time.
Tom Yamas, NBC News.
A good boy and a good cause.
Very good boy. So cute.
All right, that is going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now.
But the news continues right now. Good morning. I'm Jessica Layton in for Savannah Sellers.
I'm Joe Fryer. Right now on Morning News Now, racing against the clock. The urgent search for Savannah Guthrie's mom, Nancy, is intensifying this morning, 3 days after she was reported missing. The FBI joining the hunt in Arizona. We're going to have the latest on what officials are zeroing in on and what President Trump is saying about it, plus how the Guthrie family is leaning on their faith during this unimaginable time. Also this morning, back open for business. The partial government shutdown is officially over with funding restored for nearly every agency after President Trump signed a sprawling package into law. Now comes a new fight to fund Homeland Security as Democrats in the White House spar over President Trump's immigration crackdown. Plus, powerful testimony, the brothers of Renee Good, the woman fatally shot by an ICE agent in Minneapolis, speaking out about how their lives have been changed forever.
In a room, things felt lighter, even on cloudy days. But the most important thing we can do today is to help this panel and our country understand who Renee is. What a beautiful American we have lost.
We'll have the biggest moments from their testimony, plus the new plea from Minnesota's governor as federal officers detain children. And finally this hour, love is in the air. The countdown to Valentine's Day is on. So later this hour, we're going to sit down with a relationship strategist who thinks many couples are getting the holiday all wrong. So she'll tell us how to upgrade our plans to ensure a genuine connection. Begin this hour with the ongoing search for Today co-anchor Savannah Guthrie's beloved mom, Nancy. It is now a race against time because she has been without her critical medications for days.
The FBI has now joined the investigation, and President Trump has also weighed in for the first time, saying he would be willing to commit more federal resources to the search effort. NBC News correspondent Liz Kreutz is in Tucson, Arizona, with some new details, including words of some possible ransom notes. Liz, good morning.
Well, hey there. I know all of us have been hoping we'd have more information by now, but it's been about 72 hours since Nancy Guthrie was taken from her home. And as of my last conversation with the sheriff, they still don't have any solid lead or suspect. We are learning some new details, though, including reports of 2 unsubstantiated ransom notes that authorities say they are now investigating.
This morning, the desperate search for 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie now entering its 4th day, with the Pima County Sheriff saying he's holding out hope Savannah's mom is alive.
We have nothing else to go on but the belief that she is here. She's present, she's alive, and we want to save her.
NBC News is aware of 2 reports of ransom notes sent to news organizations that reference Nancy Guthrie. NBC News has not seen those notes, and so far, no law enforcement agency has substantiated them. The Pima County Sheriff's Office saying it's also aware of the reports, adding, "We are taking all tips and leads very seriously."
The leads we've got coming in are critical to us. They're valuable, and we're sharing those with the FBI and others.
FBI agents are now working closely with local authorities. The Sheriff's Department says Guthrie had several cameras at her home, but it's still unclear if there's any footage from the overnight hours when she was believed to be abducted. They're also still trying to find any usable video from neighbors' homes.
To give you a sense, this is what the neighborhood looks like. Many of the homes are on these big lots set back from the street with all this tall, dry vegetation blocking any view of the road. There's also no street lights here, making capturing video in the middle of the night even harder.
President Trump weighing in on Nancy Guthrie's disappearance.
Would you commit to more federal agents like helping out on this?
Sure, I would. I'm going to call her later on. I think it's a terrible thing. I always got along very good with Savannah. Very unusual situation, but we're going to find out.
While authorities stress help from the public is key,
every lead and tip is important.
the NBC family and supporters across the country continue to stand by Savannah.
What you see on the Senate Today show is real. Those people are special people, and we're just heartbroken and devastated and praying for Savannah and her entire family through this difficult time.
And understandably, Savannah is no longer going to be traveling to Italy for the Olympics, where she was scheduled to host the opening ceremonies this Friday. She's obviously going to stay here in Tucson to be with her family as they continue this search. There is so much support for them here in the community. In fact, a local church is holding a candlelight service for Nancy tonight to pray for her safe return. Back to you.
All right, Liz, thank you.
For more on this, let's bring in NBC News national law enforcement and intelligence correspondent Tom Winter. Tom, good morning. So we did have this press conference with the sheriff yesterday. Not a lot of new information, but what did stand out to you?
Yeah, a couple things stuck out to me. And so yesterday, actually, when I was just had ended this program and reporting with you all, a number of people in law enforcement reached out. They said, you know what, we know you reported that there are no suspicious vehicles. What about any sort of off-road vehicles, ATVs, anything that could have been used outside of the home? We know that it's a heavy vegetation in that area, and the sheriff said there were no tire tracks that they found. So it's really a question as to how whoever did this, or multiple people that did this, were able to get Nancy Guthrie out of that home and out of that area. Where did that go? And so I think that's something that, where did they go? And so that's really a big question. We did get some details about that. We did hear, unfortunately, there's real technological challenges to getting the video from the home of Nancy Guthrie and figuring out the cameras there and if they can get any of that.
So we know investigators say they're aware right now of 2 reports of ransom notes that have been sent to various news organizations. NBC has not seen those notes, so we don't know for sure whether they're legitimate. But how does this change things, and how does law enforcement respond to this?
Yeah, so what happens is that they became aware of these 2 notes. They both reference Nancy Guthrie. They are ransom notes. Law enforcement has not substantiated these notes as being connected at all to the actual investigation. That's the first thing. Second thing, of course, they're going to take this seriously. So these come in. It was shared with the sheriff's office. It was shared with the FBI. The FBI has some additional abilities to try to track down sometimes some of these messages. I've not seen anything or heard anything in the calls that I've had that suggests that these are, in fact, valid ransom notes directly tied to this investigation. But of course, the investigation continues. We'll see what comes up today.
Yeah.
We know time is critical in any investigation, but certainly here, that's definitely the case, right?
Time is so critical, and I have never, in my career, never done a high-profile case where someone didn't know something about who did what we were talking about. And you cannot like us, you cannot like the government, law enforcement. Maybe something's happened to you in your past. But at the end of this case is an 84-year-old woman who just wanted to live out her days going to church, seeing her kids, seeing her grandkids. And the time is now to pick up the phone. If you know, and somebody knows who's responsible for this, pick up the phone, 1-800-CALL-FBI, and make that call today, because it's just so critical, given her physical health, that she be able to be brought to safety today.
Tom, one other thing we learned yesterday is that the FBI is involved. What role does FBI play in this now?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to bring in a role of, first off, having a lot of resources to be able to go out and do interviews, to talk to a lot of people. But they also have the CAS team, the cellular analysis and survey team. Each cell phone tower has different sections of it that point in a certain direction. And so what they'll do is they'll look and say, okay, what were all the cell phone towers that had, they're broken into thirds, that face Nancy Guthrie's home? And what cell phones were in the area at the time that this incident occurred, in those overnight hours? And then they can look at it and say, okay, well, we know, Nancy's neighbor is Joe, for instance, and Tom. And so we know that, they would be home and their cell phones should be on in that area. I'm grossly simplifying it because some of this is quite law enforcement sensitive. There are exigent circumstances when we're talking about somebody's life is on the line. This is one of those cases. But they will try to then track down, is there anybody in the area that just seems a little out of place? And they can get to work from that. There's a lawful process to do it. There's an exigent circumstance process to do it. And all that's going on as we speak.
All right. Tom Winter, we appreciate your reporting with everything this week. All right?
You got it.
Thank you. President Trump is doubling down on his call for Republicans to nationalize elections in this country. That's despite the fact the Constitution leaves running elections up to the states. It comes as new body cam footage has emerged of last week's FBI raid on the Fulton County election office in Georgia. NBC News senior White House correspondent Gabe Gutierrez joins us now with the latest. Gabe, good morning.
Joe, good morning. For more than 5 years now, President Trump has repeated his false claim that the 2020 election was stolen. Now, his administration is going beyond just talk, with the FBI searching an election office in Georgia, and the president now openly questioning the state's constitutional power to oversee elections. This morning, new body camera video has surfaced that shows last week's FBI search of the Fulton County election office in Georgia. The video, taken by county police and obtained by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, shows police approaching federal agents, questioning them about their operation.
One way or the other, the records are coming with us today.
Agents later seized hundreds of boxes of ballots and other documents related to the 2020 election. Now, President Trump is escalating his push to nationalize future elections.
The federal government should get involved. If they can't count the votes legally and honestly, then somebody else should take over.
The president first setting off a firestorm during a podcast interview with his former FBI deputy director, Dan Bongino.
The Republicans should say, we want to take over. We should take over the voting in at least 15 places. The Republicans ought to nationalize the voting.
But Article 1 of the Constitution grants states the power to run elections, and even top Republicans are pushing back on the president's idea.
It's always been the responsibility of the states to administer elections.
The White House arguing the president was talking about the SAVE Act, a Republican bill already passed by the House which would require proof of citizenship to register to vote, a requirement already in place in 7 states.
With the passage of the SAVE Act, voter ID will be implemented across all 50 states.
The president, though, later making it clear he'd prefer the federal government to take over elections entirely in some states.
A state is an agent for the federal government in elections. I don't know why the federal government doesn't do them anyway.
Democrats are outraged.
It is clear that what happened in Fulton County is not about revisiting the past. It is about shaping the outcome of future elections. And quite honestly, dismantling the very guardrails that were put in place to keep them free and fair.
Meanwhile, in a letter to top Democrats, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard defending her presence during that FBI raid in Georgia. 2 sources tell NBC News that she facilitated a brief call in which President Trump spoke directly to the FBI agents involved in the search. Gabbard says the president did not ask them any questions or issue any directives. Joe?
All right, Gabe, thank you.
The federal government is back open this morning after a short, partial shutdown that was sparked by a dispute over funding for the Department of Homeland Security.
But the battle to keep the government open is far from over. The Department of Homeland Security is only funded for 10 additional days. That means both sides still need to hammer out an agreement on the future of the Trump administration's ICE raids.
NBC News Chief Capitol Hill correspondent Ryan Nobles joins us now with the latest on this and more. Ryan, good morning. So what's still at stake here, and what are Democrats calling for?
Well, Jessica and Joe, there's a lot still at stake. The Department of Homeland Security is a sprawling agency. In addition to overseeing ICE and Customs and Border Patrol, they also are responsible for the Coast Guard, for FEMA, for TSA and other departments within the federal government. And right now, they only have funding for another 10 days. And so what Democrats are demanding are some real reforms to the way that ICE is conducting these immigration raids. They want ICE agents to remove their masks. They want mandatory body cams. They want them to be properly identified. And they also want judicial warrants before they make any arrests. That's just a small sample of the things they're asking for. Now, we've seen the administration be open to the idea of making all of these officers wear body cams, but that's the extent as to how far they seem willing to go. So this could lead to a standoff, and a standoff that is going to be very difficult to resolve within the next 10 days.
Ryan, we also wanted to ask you about this ongoing standoff between the Clintons and House Republicans. This is over testimony that the House Oversight Committee is seeking with its investigation into the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. What's the latest here?
Well, the Clintons have agreed that they will testify. In fact, they've even set a date, February 26th and 27th. The former Secretary of State would go first, the former president second. The question is the form and fashion of what this deposition will look like. What the committee wants, what the committee is insistent upon, is that it happened behind closed doors but will be videotaped. They believe they can get a more substantive interview of both of the Clintons in a forum like that. The Clintons have said that they want it to be a public hearing. Now, the committee's open to a public hearing down the road, but they want the closed-door deposition to happen first. It's not clear whether or not the Clintons are willing to do that, but if they don't, the committee is ready to move to contempt of Congress charges. They've delayed that vote this week because the Clintons said that they're willing to come testify. So we'll have to see how this all plays out here over the next couple of weeks.
And then, Ryan, jumping off that, so then are Republicans concerned by claims from Democrats that this could then set a precedent in terms of bringing in President Trump and members of his family to testify in the future?
Jessica, it's such a good point, and we cannot understate. This is a historic moment to call a former president before a congressional committee in a forum like this, and it could open the floodgates to future presidents that leave office being called before committees, including Donald Trump. I asked the chairman of the committee, James Comer, about just that yesterday, and this is what he told me.
It could set a precedent. I think, one of the things that we're talking about today, the video, the deposition will be videoed. That was never a thing until the Democrats set a precedent to video the January 6th deposition. So now there's a precedent to do videos. This isn't about helping President Trump. This isn't about protecting President Trump.
And it's not just President Trump. It could be members of his cabinet. It could be former officials. The list goes on and on. If a subpoena is issued, they would be compelled by law to come and testify. And it's not something that would necessarily happen before President Trump even leaves office. If Democrats were able to win back the majority in this upcoming midterm election, it could set off a huge standoff between the executive and legislative branches. So this is a serious step that Congress has taken by calling the Clintons forward.
A great point. Ryan, thanks so much. On a programming note, be sure to catch Tom Yamas's exclusive interview with President Trump tonight at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time on NBC's Nightly News, and then streaming at 7 p.m. on News Now's Top Story.
Also on Capitol Hill, we're hearing from the family of Renee Good, the woman who was fatally shot in her car last month by an ICE agent. Her two brothers told members of Congress how their lives have been changed forever. NBC News correspondent Maggie Vespa is in Minneapolis with more. Maggie, good morning.
Good morning. In the near month since she died, DHS has maintained the officer who shot Renee Good acted in self-defense. Now, her brothers breaking their silence, talking about their sister who they loved and called Nene, and the chaos that's erupted since her death.
Nene loved fiercely, openly, and without hesitation.
Nearly 1 month after an ICE officer shot and killed Renee Good, the family of the Minneapolis mom speaking publicly for the first time. Her brothers appearing at a congressional forum about use of force by DHS officers.
Our family took some consolation, thinking that perhaps Nene's death would bring about change in our country. And it has not.
This after the Trump administration announced this week that all federal immigration officers in the field in Minneapolis will now wear body cameras.
They generally tend to be good for law enforcement because people can't lie about what's happening.
3 of our Minnesotans are shot, 2 murdered. This is called damage control.
We asked Minnesota Governor Tim Walz about the new policy.
Do you have any confidence that the administration will release video when tragedies happen, when controversies happen, when the public demands it?
No. And you could have backed up that when you frame that question. You have any confidence in the administration? No on everything.
The governor Tuesday sending a letter to Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem calling on the Trump administration to refrain from making arrests around schools, blasting what he calls a growing trend of officers detaining children, including Liam Conejo Ramos, the Minneapolis 5-year-old released with his dad from a Texas facility Saturday. State officials say hundreds of kids are still in detention centers, including Elizabeth Zuna, taken by ICE with her mother last month.
The image of Elizabeth's father will stay with me forever. I watched him sit in his car, bury his head in his hands, and cry uncontrollably.
DHS telling NBC News they don't target children, but confirming that Elizabeth, like Liam, was detained during the arrest of a parent. And they tell us Elizabeth and her mom have since been released. Back to you.
All right, Maggie, thank you.
To the Middle East now, where U.S. military forces shot down an Iranian drone in the Arabian Sea on Tuesday. U.S. Central Command said the drone was, quote, aggressively approaching the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier without clear intent. This comes as tensions between the U.S. and Iran have spiked as President Trump considers military strikes against the Islamic Republic and ahead of a high-stakes meeting between top American and Iranian officials. For more on this, let's bring in NBC's chief foreign correspondent, Richard Engel. Richard, good morning.
Good morning from Tehran. Iranian media this morning, which often reflect the government's view, say that Iran had no intention of attacking American ships, but was merely carrying out surveillance during 2 confrontations off of Iran's coast. First tensions, and now a military escalation. U.S. Central Command says an Iranian drone flew aggressively on Tuesday toward the American aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln, part of what President Trump calls the armada he deployed to the Middle East in case of a new war with Iran. The Lincoln scrambled a fighter jet and shot the drone down. Hours later, in the Strait of Hormuz, 2 Iranian ships and a drone approached a U.S. commercial vessel. The Pentagon says it maneuvered a warship nearby, and the incident de-escalated. Still, President Trump saying yesterday that talks with Iran are continuing.
They are negotiating. They'd like to do something, and we'll see if something is going to be done.
Here in Iran, there seems to be overwhelming support for negotiations with the U.S. Mass demonstrations last month and a bloody crackdown show public anger with the government runs deep. But the Iranian government does not appear to be teetering on the brink of collapse. Since I've been here, I have not seen or heard any anti-government demonstrations. Instead, we're seeing more police and security forces on the streets. Iran says it's now willing and ready to negotiate to avoid another round of war with the U.S. Diplomatic sources and officials here in Iran say that negotiations between the U.S. and Iran are still scheduled to take place this Friday, but the exact location and format of the talks is still being discussed.
All right, thanks, Richard.
This morning, we're seeing record highs out west and bitter cold rushing back east.
Not fair. Let's get a check on your Morning News Now weather with meteorologist Angie Lastman. Angie, good morning.
Morning, guys. We still, unfortunately, dealing with that cold weather across parts of the east. We've still got temperatures below normal in a lot of these spots, but we've made some minor improvements. Today, we top out into the 20s for Indianapolis, low 40s for Memphis. If you're looking up into northern New England, about 30 degrees is what you're going to get in Providence, upper 30s for Richmond. Meanwhile, out west, great conditions if you're looking for the warmth. We've got temperatures running above normal from Rapid City to Montrose. We've got 60 degrees on tap for Reno today. LA expected to hit the high 80s. Potential record warmth across much of the west here as we get through the short term. Even tomorrow, we could see temperatures into the high 30s for Minneapolis, running way above normal in Omaha with 53 degrees in Springfield and mid 60s in Dallas. Milder conditions when it comes to the cold weather on tap for the short term for folks across the east, but that doesn't last very long. We start to see our temperatures dip once again. These are our high temperatures into the weekend. Teens on both Saturday in Philadelphia. You can see teens on Sunday in Boston. Just -1 degree for Burlington on Saturday and only 3 by Sunday. All of that Arctic air is going to spill in, and we're going to add on some wind as well. So that means that our minimum wind chills will be quite dangerous in some spots. 5 below in Dayton on Saturday. Will feel like -9 in Detroit on Saturday morning as well. 16 below in Rochester. And you get the picture, just really bitter cold temperatures kind of settling in. We'll get a brief break before we see the bottom drop out once again with this cold air. Otherwise, we've got a bit of rain to talk about across the southeast. We're getting a wet commute for us that are headed out this morning from Cape Hatteras all the way stretching across to New Orleans. Some of that rain working through with this cold front that's kind of sliding to the east. It eventually is going to be out of the picture as we get through the day today. But in the meantime, still some light snow for us to deal with across parts of Virginia and North Carolina, and some of those showers across parts of the southeast. That'll be out of the picture, guys, by the time we get into tomorrow. Back to you.
All right, Angie, thank you. Much more to come here on Morning News Now. A little later this hour, she's not backing down. American Olympian Lindsey Vonn vowing to compete in the women's downhill on Sunday, just over a week after a dramatic injury. We will break down the risks with a doctor.
The first push for peace. Talks are set to resume with U.S. officials trying to broker a deal between Kyiv and Moscow following a major Russian attack on Ukraine's power grid. We'll have the latest on the negotiations and the new concerns about a potential nuclear arms race between the U.S. and Russia when we come back. Back now at the latest in the war in Ukraine. This morning, U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff is in Abu Dhabi, kicking off a flurry of diplomatic meetings, including another round of peace talks with Russian and Ukrainian officials.
Those talks come as Moscow unleashed a new wave of attacks on Ukraine's power grid, despite Russia's agreement with President Trump to hold off from attacking Ukraine's energy systems during the wintertime.
For more, let's bring in NBC News Chief International Correspondent Keir Simmons, who has the very latest. Keir, good morning. Let's start with today's meeting in Abu Dhabi. Who's expected to be there? Any indication we could see a breakthrough or something, at least it is the beginning of a potential breakthrough?
Well, Joe, it's on now. They're in the room now here in the UAE. According to Ukraine's chief negotiator, a post that he put out, apparently it's the Americans, the Russians, Ukrainians. They are meeting together and then splitting up into groups, then meeting together again. 2 days of negotiations behind closed doors, though, so we won't know, I don't think, whether there is any progress until after the talks, and it's clearly a slow process.
Keir, this meeting comes as Ukraine is accusing Russia of violating a key part of the current agreement by continuing to launch strikes against the country's energy infrastructure during what has become a brutally cold winter. Is either Russia or the U.S. addressing the latest round of attacks?
They both are. All sides are, Jess, and they have different views. So fascinating conversation with President Trump in the Oval Office overnight, where he was asked whether or not President Putin should extend the pause. He said, I would like him to. He said that Putin had kept his word, not firing on Ukraine in the coldest times, and said, it's a lot, 1 week, we'll take anything because it's really, really cold over there. That's not the way the Ukrainians view it. They think the truce or the pause was broken. They say Russia sent a record number of ballistic missiles to target Ukraine's energy sector at a time where it is, get this, -4 degrees Fahrenheit in Ukraine. Ukraine is reporting 1,000 tower blocks in the capital are without heating again, that a power plant was hit. And President Zelensky accusing President Putin of choosing terror and escalation. So that's the backdrop to these talks. And they think that Russia is being pretty cynical about it all.
Keir, I know you had the chance to sit down with the president of Estonia, which borders Ukraine. Talk about his perspective on the war and what he's thinking about any prospects for peace.
Yeah, Joe, this is Ala Karis, the president of Estonia. You're right, it's a small country, Eastern European, borders Russia, long history with Russia, of course. And frankly, he is pretty cynical about Russia's capacity, well, President Putin's capacity to sign up to any kind of a deal and then to stick to it. Listen to what he had to say about those negotiations between Russia and Ukraine with the US that are underway right now. What's your understanding of how the negotiations between Ukraine and Russia are progressing?
If you look at these negotiations, I mean, it has been around already for almost a year. And every time we listen that we are very close to a result or to a peace, which actually hasn't happened. So we don't know what's happening now behind the doors. So
do you think this comes down to President Putin?
At this very moment, yes. So we'll see. I mean, there have been so many attempts. I mean, from President Trump and also Zelensky and also other presidents of different countries to convince Putin that one should stop this war in Ukraine.
That is the backdrop, guys, honestly. Eastern European countries who have a long history of being occupied by the Soviet Union have seen over that history Moscow break its word over decades, over the past century. And on the other hand, Clarisse says, look, the Ukrainian people have been dying, not only in battles, but also in Kyiv and some other places, civilians, children. So he says there has to be a balance between potentially giving away land, for example, to stop the war and not trusting Moscow.
All right, Keir Simmons, appreciate your reporting. Thank you so much. Coming up, American skiing legend Lindsey Vonn says she is not going to let a ruptured ACL stop her from competing in the women's downhill this Sunday.
We'll bring you the latest from Milan Cortina and speak with a doctor about this injury. Coming up next.
We're back now with a closer look at what's making news in the world of politics this morning, starting with President Trump pursuing $1 billion from Harvard.
NBC Capitol Hill correspondent Melanie Zanona is back with us now. Hi, Melanie.
Yeah, good morning, guys. We begin with Donald Trump's battle with the Ivy Leagues. The president said late Monday evening his administration is seeking $1 billion in damages from Harvard to settle federal probes into the university over its school policies. Trump has said Harvard and other universities allowed displays of anti-Semitism during pro-Palestinian protests. He also has been threatening to withhold federal funds from several other universities over their transgender policies and campus diversity. While the administration has settled some of its probes into universities, it has not yet reached an agreement with Harvard, despite months of talks. And finally, U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro sparking conservative backlash over her recent gun comments. During a Fox News interview this week, Pirro warned that anyone who brings a gun to D.C. is, quote, going to jail. But a slew of Republicans and gun rights advocates condemned the remarks and called for a course correction, marking yet another rupture over the Second Amendment inside the GOP in recent weeks. Pirro later walked back the comments on social media, saying she's a proud gun owner and will be focused on those unlawfully carrying firearms in the district. And that's what's making news in politics this morning. Joe and Jess.
All right, Mel, thank you. Turning now to Milan, Italy, where the Winter Olympics opening ceremony kicks off in 2 days.
This morning, American skiing great Lindsey Vonn says she is confident she could compete in the downhill event Sunday, despite rupturing her ACL in a recent wipeout. NBC News senior national correspondent Stephanie Gosk is in Milan with the latest. Steph, a torn ACL is no joke. As I like to say, if I did that, I wouldn't do this job, let alone ski down a hill at 80, 85 miles an hour. So explain why Lindsey Vonn is at least pushing forward and so confident she can do this.
Well, look, she is, and you have to be as a downhill skier, fearless. She is tough. She is super competitive. If anyone is capable of willing themselves onto that race course, it's going to be Lindsey Vonn. But there are also some physical reasons why she feels she could be up for it. Listen to how she described it.
We have been doing extensive therapy, been consulting with doctors, been in the gym, and today I went skiing. And considering how my knee feels, it feels stable, I feel strong. My knee is not swollen, and with the help of a knee brace, I am confident that I can compete on Sunday.
We spoke with her head coach, and I asked him, is there any precedent for any downhill skier skiing without an ACL in one of their knees? And he said, actually, there is, and it looks like Lindsey Vonn wants to be the next, guys.
Steph, bottom line here, what has to happen for her to get the green light to compete on Sunday?
Right. So you heard her mention that she's been skiing. She's been on skis. But what she has to do is a training run. And during a training run, she's going to really go full tilt, up to 80 miles an hour or so. And there are 3 opportunities over the next 3 days to do that. One of the things they're keeping an eye on is the weather. It's supposed to snow a lot tonight in Cortina. That's going to change the conditions. And then when she does finally get out there, she's going to be looking at her stability in that knee. So the ACL is the ligament that actually keeps the knee stable. If she feels stable at those high speeds, you could expect her at the starting gate.
So, Steph, I mean, at 41 years old, this is almost certainly her final Olympics. I have to imagine that is factoring into her decision.
For sure it factors in, but what's also interesting is that she had an incredible season in the World Cup so far, Joe. She was on the podium 5 times. She won 2 races. In some respects, that was way beyond her expectations for the season, and that World Cup season's not over, so that may factor into it slightly. But really, this is all about Cortina. This is her favorite run. It has always been. It's the place of her first World Cup win. So she has her eyes on that course and, of course, these Olympics, guys.
We are all going to be cheering her on. All right, Steph, thank you so much.
For more on this, we want to bring in NBC News medical contributor Dr. John Torres. Doctor, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Clearly, for almost any other skier, competing with a torn ACL would just be out of the question. We all know Lindsey Vohn's not the average skier. She is an elite Olympian. But from a medical standpoint, what's different for her, if anything? And is it smart? Is it a good precedent to try to set?
And good morning, and you're right. For those of us that just are average skiers, or maybe even a little below average skiers, you know, if we have a torn ACL, after it gets repaired, after we get physical therapy, then we can think about going back on the slopes and just taking it easy and making sure it doesn't get re-ruptured or re-injured. But in cases like this, where she's an elite athlete, she has to be extra careful. And there is a big difference. And I have to tell you, there's a big difference. As Stephanie mentioned, there was somebody who had a torn ACL that raced. They probably had that torn ACL from either months or years before. Having it torn just 5 days ago and trying to get back on the race circuit is very risky. And so she needs to be very careful and very in tune to what her body is telling her and decide, okay, if it's starting to hurt, if it's starting to get unstable, then let's go ahead and back off.
I mean, Lindsey, like any elite athlete, has a long history of injuries. We can show you the list here. It includes a torn ACL in her other knee, major reconstructive surgery, broken pinky, broken wrist, broken ankle, concussion. The list goes on and on and on. We know she's consulting with doctors. We know she's back in the gym. She has skied since this latest injury and is feeling stable with the help of a brace. Still, though, I mean, medically, what are the biggest risks if she competes? Maybe what are some of the red flags that signal at the end of the day she would not go through with it?
So the biggest risk, and you have to remember, when it comes to the knee, there are 4 ligaments that keep that knee stable. ACL is the biggest ligament, and it's kind of a rotational ligament, so it prevents it from rotating too much, and the bottom bone essentially from rotating off the top bone and causing more injury. At this point, where she just has 3 of those ligaments stabilizing instead of 4, that's a huge concern. And yes, you can certainly brace it, but that brace only takes you to a certain level. On top of that, she mentioned a bruised bone. She mentioned a partial meniscal tear as well. So she has injuries in there, and re-injuring it at this point can be very critical, can be very something that can be very dangerous and maybe even damaging, and especially those other ligaments are more likely to tear as well. So she has to make sure this is braced extremely well, but you can't brace it to the level of what it naturally is braced with those ligaments.
And Dr. John, if she does race, will this mostly be about pain tolerance, or is it really knee stability that's the concern when you're skiing downhill at like 80 miles an hour?
So when she races, she is going to have a brace on there that is going to help keep that knee as stable as possible. But they have a lot of twisting and turning, and that's what that ligament is there for, to prevent the knee from damage when that happens. And so she's going to have some pain issues because this injury is only 5 days ago, so she's still dealing with the recovery from that. But on top of that, that stability issue is going to be a concern. And they are skiing on the edge, and we saw her fall 5 days ago. Hopefully this doesn't repeat itself because she can't quite make those edges or make those cuts like she's used to making. So, you know, time will tell how well and how fast she can go down with that torn ligament. But like Stephanie mentioned, this is Lindsey Vonn. Expect surprises.
Yeah, and we know she wants it so badly. Dr. John Torres, thanks so much. You can catch all the 2026 Winter Olympics coverage starting this Friday right here on NBC and streaming on Peacock. Coming up, the sad horse going viral in China.
We're going to take a look at how a mistake by a factory has led to a stuffed animal flying off the shelves. That's after the break.
We're back now with more on our top story. As the urgent search for Today co-anchor Savannah Guthrie's mother, Nancy, continues in Arizona, we're taking a closer look at the close-knit bond she shares with Savannah and her entire family. It is a bond strengthened by her unwavering faith, which has carried the family through many tough times. Well, now they're all leaning on this faith as they navigate this unimaginable situation. Today's Jenna Bush Hager has more.
In the midst of this unimaginable challenge, Savannah shared 2 words that have resonated with people nationwide. Please pray. Leaning on her deeply rooted faith in God that was passed from mother to daughter.
The greatest gift my mother gave me was faith and belief in God. It changed my whole life.
Over the years on Today, Savannah has often shared her mom's many life lessons.
I had never lived away from home, and it was really hard for me to leave her. And that's when she said, if you can't leave me, then I didn't do my job right, Savannah. She's like, I am not going to stand in the way of your dreams. I'm going to tell you, go, 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 go. That Nancy Guthrie. She's amazing.
Her mother's own faith and resilience, a constant throughout their lives.
Nancy's also a woman of great faith.
She is.
And the conversations I've had with her, she always talks about that.
She is. She's an inspiration. Beautiful.
From the very beginning, Nancy and her husband Charlie raised their 3 children to have deep conviction and deep faith.
God was the 6th member of our family. There were 5 of us, but as my sister Annie says it, God was the 6th.
The tight-knit family relying on that belief following Charlie's tragic death in 1988 when Savannah was just 16 years old.
I remember being asked by friends, how can you still believe? And I remember saying, oh no, this is when I need him the most. I can't lose my dad and lose God at the same time.
Nancy becoming the backbone of the Guthrie family.
We were always close. After Savannah's dad died, the kids and us, we just gravitated toward one another. Don't you think?
I agree 100%.
With that foundation of faith laid by her mother, Savannah has shared it with her own children, Vale and Charlie.
I always think it's my job to tell my kids about the God that I know, but then God has to do the rest. When they grow up, it's theirs to choose.
Now the whole family following Nancy's lead in faith and strength.
I just want to say thank you for being a great example and for being my mom, not just when I was a little girl, but right to this day. And I will never stop needing you.
Oh, it's an honor and a privilege. It really is.
Such a special bond there. Our thanks to Jenna for that report. If you have any information on Nancy Guthrie's disappearance, you can contact officials through the number in the banner on your screen. It is 1-800-CALL-FBI. All right, it's time now for our Money Minute. Walmart hitting a major milestone for a retail company.
NBC News business and economy reporter Allie Canal has your Money Minute. Good morning, Allie.
Good morning, Joe. That's right. Major for Walmart. The retail giant is now worth a whopping $1 trillion. That follows steady profit growth and a rapid stock climb for the company. And it puts it in a club typically dominated by tech names. The move is being driven by fast growth in e-commerce and advertising. And Walmart has also been winning over higher income shoppers as inflation stays elevated. And while retail is showing strength, Bitcoin is under pressure. The world's largest cryptocurrency fell to its lowest level since President Donald Trump's election victory, trading at just around $76,000 a coin. Prices, which hit a record high in October, are now down more than 15% from just last month. And the Google antitrust fight isn't over. According to court documents, the U.S. government and more than 30 states are appealing a landmark case that found Google illegally monopolized online search, but stopped short of forcing the company to sell its Chrome browser. The appeal sets up the next high-stakes battle over just how aggressively Washington can move in to rein big tech. And there's a lot of back and forth when it comes to this Google case. It seemingly all has to do with that Chrome browser. We'll continue to monitor this and see what happens next.
All right. Thanks, Allie. You've heard the expression, turn that frown upside down. Well, the opposite of that is now playing out as we prepare to ring in the Lunar New Year. That's because of this plushie, which has been dubbed the Cry horse. NBC News International correspondent Janice Mackey-Freyer shows us how a single stitching mistake turned the horse into a viral icon, galloping into worldwide fame.
With the Lunar New Year approaching February 17th, China is decorated in traditional red and gold. This year marking the year of the horse in the Chinese zodiac, with an unlikely icon trotting into the spotlight and looking not so happy about it. That's because this horse plushie was designed to be sporting a cheerful smile, to be a mascot for good fortune. Except a factory worker made a mistake, sewing the faces of the soft toys upside down, accidentally mass-producing holiday horses with a distinct frown. The store owner who ordered up the toys says photos of the flawed, frowny faces with their wide eyes were posted to social media. And soon enough, China's internet was in love with Cuckoo Ma, or Cry horse. The store overwhelmed with orders, selling 15,000 a day. Cute, pouty, and viral, Cry horse has struck a chord here. By summing up in a single stitching mistake, the vibe of a world turned upside down.
And lots of people are saying, I feel the same way as the horse.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Everyone likes him because he's really cute, she says. On social media platforms, the crying horse has been adopted by a generation of stressed-out office workers, exhausted by long hours and stagnant pay. One user said, "This little horse looks so sad and pitiful, just like the way I feel at work." The Cry horse hashtag has been viewed on Douyin, China's version of TikTok, at least 200 million times. With demand for what was dubbed the accidental edition surging, there are even knockoffs of Cry being sold online. As for the worker who made the mistake, he was rewarded with a big cash bonus for the stitch in time that's given even China's saddest horse something to smile about. Janice Mackey-Freyer, NBC News, Beijing.
All right, coming up, it's almost time to ask, will you be mine?
I'm flattered, but we're actually both taken. Next, we're sitting down with a relationship expert to talk about the best ways to boost your romantic connection this Valentine's Day.
We end this hour with the countdown to Valentine's Day. The holiday of love is only a week away, and a new survey shows more than half of Americans plan to celebrate this year.
In fact, the National Retail Federation predicts people will spend more than $29 billion, a potential new record for the holiday. But some experts say it's not the gifts or the dates that make the day special. It's celebrating the relationships and the connections that we hold most dear.
All right, relationship strategist Damona Hoffman is here with some tips to help make Valentine's Day extra special for anyone who plans to celebrate. She's also the author of F the Fairy Tale, Rewrite the Dating Myths, and Live Your Own Love Story, host of the Dates and Mates podcast, and of course, my former college roommate.
The most important thing on your resume. Yes.
Always good to see you and have you with us here. Okay, so let's start with date ideas. So many people like to do an event or an activity. Do you have any tips that can help people kind of take it up a notch a little bit?
Yeah, I have a pitch for this year. I'm calling the Sensory Super Date.
Okay.
So this is a date that taps into all of your senses. Sight, maybe you go stargazing, you go to a museum, something to talk about that you see. Sound, do a couple's playlist. You can also incorporate scents. The sense of scent is actually the sense that's most tied to memory, and a lot of people don't realize that. So instead of just like stopping at the grocery store on the way home and getting whatever flowers are there, maybe get the flower from your wedding day, and that will bring back those good memories. Or even use taste in a new way. Get some new flavors going. I like to do something called mystery chocolate. It's a chocolate bar, and it has all different inclusions with sweet and savory, and you and your partner get to guess what's inside of the chocolate bar.
Ooh, I like
that. Sounds fun.
Make it fun.
The taste and the guessing, the mystery of it. I want to talk about connection. We know it's the cornerstone of relationships, not just on Valentine's Day, but, you know, always. Let's talk about the 5 primary love languages that are typically used to define how people like to give and receive love. But you say those love languages have become kind of an unreliable predictor of relationship success. So why is that, and how should we be thinking about connecting instead?
I love the idea of the love languages, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news because I know it's very popular on TikTok.
Yeah.
But it actually has been proven to not be a scientific basis for compatibility, for clear communication with your partner. It turns out everybody likes all of the love languages and uses them in different ways.
Wait, there's bad info on TikTok? No.
I know. But it also, Joe, it eliminates some of the other ways that people show love. And I'm writing a new book called The Communication Code that incorporates all the ways that we actually communicate in today's world. So we know about verbal communication, we know about nonverbal communication, but in the communication code, I'm also including digital communication. I mean, how many times has your partner sent you a text that made you upset, angry, frustrated?
Yeah.
You're right.
But
Tone.
we don't talk about that. And yet it is now one of the primary ways that we communicate, not only with our partners, but with everyone in the world. So I think using the communication code is a way to really communicate on all levels that we now use today.
My problem is maybe I don't read all the texts.
See one thing and go, oh.
And then
thumbs up
that
emoji.
becomes an issue.
Or just inferring tone from text. I do that
Very
a lot where I assume it's the worst, and really my husband's like, that's not what I meant at all.
Right,
Now we're in a fight.
You read the text in the tone that, in the space that you're in, the mindset that you're in, not in the intent that they sent it with.
Exactly.
So it can become complicated, and especially stakes are high for Valentine's Day.
Speaking of communication, we have just under a minute left here, but like communication's important. You talk about having maybe a simple, helpful conversation before Valentine's Day. What's the goal of that?
I would love for couples to ask 3 important questions before Valentine's Day. First, ask, what does Valentine's Day mean to you? So that you can have alignment, that you understand, we have agreement that this means the same thing, or now I understand what it means to you. And then ask, what would an ideal Valentine's Day look like for you? Because if you think that you're going to spend a cozy night at home in your pajamas and your partner thinks that you're going out on the town, you have a mismatch. And then the most important question is ask, how do we want to feel after this day? A lot of times we put so much focus on February 14th, but I'm more interested in how you communicate with your partner the other 364 days of the year.
I love that. We're out of time, Damona, but this was great. Thank you so much, Damona Hoffman. Good to see you. Happy Valentine's Day early.
Happy Valentine's Day.
That's going to do for this hour. Morning News Now.
The news continues right now.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.